We'll do what we do every Friday, what we can't wait to see when Sunday rolls around. Charean, I'll let you go first.
Well, we got our first look at Tua last week, and we're going to get our second look at Tua this week. And is he going to be better than he was last week, Mike? He was not good. He was 14 to 24, 102 yards and a touchdown. The Dolphins won, but they only won because of their defense. So he's 1-0 technically, but he's got to play better. And, you know, when we watched Justin Herbert in his first start and we watched Joe Burrow in his first start, we just didn't see the struggles that Tua had against the Rams. I mean, he really struggled, and we haven't seen that. But I don't know, maybe it's that he hadn't played in almost exactly a year when he had that hip injury. Maybe it's just getting some of the rust off. Maybe he's not ready. Who knows? But this is about evaluation, right? I know you wrote something about that earlier today, and the Dolphins have to find out what this guy has.
Yeah, I don't know how much I agree with the term audition. That's something that I think Adam Schefter reported, that it's an audition for Tua for the rest of the year. Brian Flores, the coach of the Dolphins, bristled at that. But the reality is you've got three types of teams in the NFL. Teams that have a clear-cut, top-shelf franchise quarterback, teams that don't and are looking for one, and teams that have a quarterback where they don't know. So with Tua and the Dolphins, they've got to accelerate the process and find out, is he a potential or actual shortlist franchise quarterback? Because if he's not, and you don't see him on that path, and the first-round pick of the Houston Texans that you hold by virtue of the Laramie Tunsil Kenny Stills trade could be in position where you may get a shot at Trevor Lawrence or Justin Fields, or maybe you could package your own first-round pick to guarantee yourself that spot. You've got to do the evaluation because everybody wants that guy who's the answer for the next 15 to 20 years. If you have a quarterback that you feel good about for the next generation, that secures employment for a lot of people because that means you're a contender every year. You're going to win championships. You're going to be playing big primetime games. You're going to be one of the teams that matter if you have one of those handful of great quarterbacks. So if it's not Tua, let's figure it out because it could be Trevor Lawrence or Justin Fields. And it's that simple. And there's no offense or insult to Tua if the team does that. If I'm a Dolphins fan, I want him to do it because I don't want them to keep the wrong guy when the right guy could have been had. All right. I can't wait to see whether or not the Tennessee Titans, who have now lost 2 in a row after being one of the best teams in the NFL, can they muster a pass rush against a team that has an offensive line that stinks? Last week, the Bengals had 80% turnover in their starting offensive line, and they neutralized the Tennessee Titans pass rush. This week, they've cut Vic Beasley, who had done nothing. Jadeveon Clowney may or may not play with a knee injury. Now, he doesn't have any sacks, but he is a master of the F up the play stat, as Chris calls it. But the Titans got no sacks last week. They've got 7 in 7 games. They've got to get to Nick Foles. They've got to disrupt Nick Foles because if Nick Foles has time, he's going to make things happen. That's the big reason why Foles hasn't been special this year. He's got to throw the ball before he wants to throw the ball, so you have inaccurate passes because he has to make quicker decisions and quicker commitments, and it's been harder for the Bears to operate their passing game. So the Titans, hey, one of these teams is going to be on a 3-game losing streak, and the Titans can't afford to have that happen, not after they started 5-0, Charean.
No, they really can't, Mike. And I want to see more from Clowney. And I know Chris loves Clowney, but let's face it. He had 3 sacks last year. He's got none this year. He has 6 quarterback hits. He's not lived up to really what the Titans expected when they brought him in. He's never had a double-digit sack season. I know he's really good against the run, but I have watched many Titans games this year from start to finish, and there are just games that you go, was Clowney even on the field? Because I didn't see him. And I know he's had some injuries, some nagging injuries. Now he's got the knee. Is he going to play? Is he not going to play? He's going to be a game-time decision, all that sort of stuff. But this is a team now with 3 outside linebackers on its active roster. They really need him to play, and they really need him to play well this week.
All right, what's next on your list, Charean?
Well, I want to see when we finish this Tampa Bay New Orleans game, who holds the all-time passing touchdowns record. Is it going to be Drew Brees or is it going to be Tom Brady? Tom Brady currently has 561. He passed Drew Brees on Sunday, who now has 560. And they just keep swapping this record back and forth, Mike. And it's a fun record. And I think whoever plays longest obviously is going to end up with it. Brees is 41. He's got 13 touchdowns this season. Brady's 43. He's got 20 touchdowns this season. Which one's going to end up with the record? If I'm betting, Mike, I'm putting my money on Tom Brady to hold it after this week, and I'm putting my money on Tom Brady to hold it after both of their careers are over.
Well, yeah, because he's going to play next year, and Drew Brees very well may not. And I think however long Drew Brees plays, Brady's going to find at least one more season, so he definitely has that record. But it's amazing, 1,121 touchdown passes combined, and we get to see that play out on Sunday Night Football. I want to see in that same game, how will the Saints go about defending all of these Tampa Bay weapons? You can't double everyone, and that's one of the things Mike Evans said on the way off the field Monday night to Lisa Salters of ESPN after the Tampa Bay Buccaneers came back and beat the Giants and then held on at the end. Antonio Brown is going to take away some of the double teams from me. So is that going to unlock Mike Evans? Is that going to make him better? Is the ball going to go his way more? Will he be doubled? This is a hell of a chess match for Dennis Allen. Does he just go ahead and commit to doubling Antonio Brown, or does he wait until it's clear that Brown really is the guy that ripped up the Saints defense 2 years ago for 185 yards? What do they do about Gronk? Do they put a safety on him? Is that what Malcolm Jenkins handles? Do they have linebackers? What do they do? So you've got Gronk, Mike Evans, Antonio Brown, Chris Godwin, Scotty Miller. You got to worry about all those guys. You got to worry about getting gashed in the running game if you overcommit to the pass. I can't wait to see how that defense ultimately is constructed by Dennis Allen.
The one guy I wouldn't want to be this week, Mike, is Dennis Allen. The Aggie great has his hands full, and I'm sure he's ready for Sunday to get here to figure out what they do. But it's going to be a very, very difficult task for them. One of the games I'm most looking forward to is how Everson Griffen is going to do against the Minnesota Vikings. And he and Mike Zimmer, you alluded to it earlier, have had this back and forth. And Mike Zimmer intended to compliment Everson Griffen when he said he was a really good player here. He was with Mike Zimmer for 6 years in Minnesota, 10 years total, third all-time on the team in sacks. But Everson Griffen took that as a slight, that he didn't call him great. Mike Zimmer only called him good. He said, I think he's a great coach, not a good coach, but I have something to show them. Players use all kinds of things for motivation. If this motivates Everson Griffen, great. He's got 2.5 sacks this season. They came with the Cowboys. We'll see what he can do with the Lions against his former team, but he's certainly going to be motivated judging on his comments.
And this is his debut with the Lions because of the COVID-19 protocols. Even though the trade came well over a week ago, he couldn't play last weekend when the Lions faced the Colts. And, yeah, I think that this is Everson Griffen looking for anything he can to muster extra motivation. And that's fine. The Michael Jordan documentary revealed that great players will stretch, embellish, and even lie to themselves if they have to. They'll make up indignities that never occurred to get themselves appropriately lathered up to go do what they have to do. But that's going to be a great subplot to this game. And as we discussed earlier, I firmly believe the loser of this game is done. Can Jake Luton get it done? Or is it Luke Jayton? I really don't know. I wrote down here Luke Jayton as a joke, but then I'm thinking, is that the joke or is that the serious name? It is Jake Luton, 6th-round pick, second straight 6th-round pick of the Jaguars, and last year's Gardner Minshew turned out to be pretty good, although this year they're not winning football games. Minshew's got a thumb injury. He's not going to play, and instead of going with Mike Glennon, it's Jake Luton who gets the call, and we'll see what he can do against Deshaun Watson and company. You know, every once in a while, you roll the dice on one of these guys no one's ever heard of except people who were fans of their college team, and it works. There's a Ben DiNucci that didn't work. Maybe Jake Luton will work for the Jacksonville Jaguars and save some jobs down there, because what a stunning fall. Week 1, they beat the Colts, and they haven't won a game since, Charean.
Yeah, including a loss to the Texans, and now they play the Texans again. And Gardner Minshew is now 7-12. We were talking of him highly after Week 1. We're not talking about him so highly now. So, going to be interesting for the Jaguars. But you figure they probably will get one of those top 2 spots and get to draft a quarterback. Mike, another game I'm looking at, I want to know which Steelers defensive player is going to be player of the week this week. We've seen it a couple times so far this year. TJ Watt's won it, and Stephon Tuitt won it this past week. Minka Fitzpatrick could have won it. Tyson Alualu could have won it. Cameron Hayward could have won it. I think one of those guys will win it this week against the injury-depleted Cowboys offensive line against the Cowboys depleted quarterbacks. No matter who they start, they're going to have a rough day, and that Steelers defense is really going to take advantage.
Yeah, it does seem like every week there's another guy who steps up. It's just one of the benefits of having an awesome defense like the Steelers have. I want to see whether or not the Chargers will blow another 17-point lead. They've done it 3 times in the last 4 games. It does not bode well for Anthony Lynn, the head coach of the team, a guy I have a ton of respect for. But when you've got Justin Herbert, and it's clear he's the real deal, this is an opportunity to go out and attract a great coach to come to L.A. and run that Chargers organization and attach his wagon to Justin Herbert for the next 5, 10, 15 years, however long Herbert is there. I really do think if they put the right pieces in place with that Chargers organization, they can emerge as the preeminent team in L.A. I think Herbert's better than Jared Goff. Maybe not immediately, or maybe. I think I'd take Herbert over Goff right now. Who would you take between the two right now?
Herbert. I would take Herbert.
Yeah.
I think he's been better than Joe Burrow, frankly.
Yeah. They just don't have the wins, and one of the reasons they don't have the wins, Herbert builds the leads, and the defense fails to hold the lead.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.